down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
Yeah, Savvy Investors, today I'm talking about building your team. Yes, you're on a team. If you're a solo guy, you're going to have a team. Regardless, to go to the next level, to build an empire, you have to hire people. You have to have a team member on your team. So I don't want to beat you down with it. Get over it. Start learning how to attract other people to be on your team. To attract other people, you have to be attractive. You have to mirror people. If you want to have a relationship with, say, a banker, you're going to have to know some of the banking language. And so let's start off. I'm going to cover 13 and people that I think are essential for your real estate empire that I use and communicate with usually on a daily basis. And I'm going to throw down a bonus at the end. Anyway, number one, a banker. You got to have a banker on your team. You know, you might want to have a mortgage broker or private lender. All right. So money. Number one, if you're going to build a relationship with a banker, get with a decision maker. Get with the senior vice president. There's a lot of business cards that say vice president on there. Basically, that's another word for saying salesman. But a senior vice president usually has been there a little bit longer, usually a little bit more sophisticated in their communication and their decision-making skills. They usually have a direct connect to the committee, the people that you may have to present, or he or she may present your loan application to. Okay. So I talk in depth with this scenario dealing with a banker on another episode. That episode is 85, and I kind of talk about underwriting. So that's a little bit more internal information, I guess, secrets of whatever. But here, to write this down, number one, you need a money person, a banker, a private lender, and a mortgage broker. So I consider that one as a team. I lean towards a banker. It just makes life faster and easier. I haven't had a need for a broker. And private money, I constantly make a list of private lenders that are in my market or outside my market that are willing to loan in my market. Number two, this is where I failed. Bookkeeper. I still struggle with this today. Let me say this again. Get an effing bookkeeper now. It is $50 a month. Do it. Call someone. Call another real estate investor. Today, I am still struggling. 2016. I've had several accountants in my lifetime, several bookkeepers, and I just got my financials last week. I'm going through them, and there's errors on there. And I'm like, is my accountant not good? My bookkeeper not good? Well, my partner here, she said it could be the data that we're giving the accountant. Because I'm like, we're going over this information over and over. And if the information's wrong from the get-go, it's going to be wrong later. And how to clear up the information is a good, solid, down-to-earth bookkeeper. Now, keep in mind, this person that you may hire may not be your friend. They're very meticulous and anal detailed, and that's cool. That's the kind of person you want. You want a person that's going to set up your QuickBooks, know how to operate QuickBooks, and don't cut corners in this area. You're going to pay between $10 to $15 an hour for a bookkeeper. You can get with a bookkeeping service, and I would go individualized, not like a corporation or a group or something, with a bookkeeper that's going to give you a service. Now there's number three. So that's number two. Number three is an accountant. Okay, great. Well, isn't a bookkeeper an accountant and a bookkeeper? No. Okay. And I thought that was wrong too. I had a accountant for so long, and they're just operating off of the information that you give them. That information comes from a bookkeeper. Now, you may get with a good accounting firm, and they may have a bookkeeper division, but they're usually two separate things. An accountant is verifying the numbers, doing depreciation schedules, filing your taxes, doing extensions. They're involved with the operation of your accounting, but they're not data entry. Bookkeepers are usually data entry. So they're both respectable people. They both have different jobs and they're in different pay grades. So, but here's the deal. You may be thrifty and you may do your bookkeeping yourself. Good luck. But you still have to get the information to a solid accountant. And you got to get an accountant that understands real estate. Don't say because your aunt went to this accountant or they've been doing your parents' books forever. Seek out a legitimate accountant that has a passion for real estate. Maybe they own real estate themselves. They understand depreciations. They're on top of stuff. You want to look for an enrolled agent. Okay. So if possible. So I know I'm shooting for the moon, but listen, interview several accountants, ask several people. Don't cut corners in that area. I am still suffering 16 years later, and I hope and pray that 2016 will be the last year that I'll have delays in my accounting. And it's not my accountant today. It's just my poor bookkeeping in the past that is catching up with me. Okay. So hopefully you got that message there. And this is not beaten down. This is just creating your team. 1, a banker. 2, a bookkeeper. 3, an accountant. 4, a property manager. Yeah. Now for many years, probably 13 years, I was a property manager. Okay. Of my own property. Now you may be your own property manager. That's cool. And I definitely recommend all rookies starting out managing your own property, probably till you get to around 20 or 30, maybe 50. Now, if you're real savvy and you have a full-time job and you may realize that property management is not your deal, and that's fine, you should definitely manage your property in the beginning by yourself so you understand what it takes to be a property manager so you can hire the right property manager. Just like if I was going to open a sub sandwich shop, right? What's the number one sub sandwich shop? Subway. So I would go work for Subway for a couple of months and then quit. But I would learn the systems. I would learn how they do it. And then I would duplicate it in my own way, even make it better. And I don't know how you can make a great successful franchise better, but there's always a different way to do it. And that's how you should do it. Now, here's the deal. If you still manage your properties on your own, you should get with another property manager. To this day, I still have lunch once a month with another property manager that runs and manages almost 500 units. And the things that he tells me, the struggles that he goes through and ideas and tips. Like the other day, we were talking about checklists and, I'm having problems with my maintenance team. And he's like, do you have checklists? And I'm like, not really. And he gave me some checklists. And so now I'm checklist out. I'm trying to make as many checklists as possible. So get with a property manager, find a property manager, become friends with a property manager. Boom. Get a property manager. It may not be on your team as employed or outsourced, but get a property manager that's a friend on your team. I'm a property manager, so I'm your friend. You listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Do it up. All right, number 5, an attorney. Now, years ago, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, phenomenal book, read all the books, okay? Investing, quadrants, blah, 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 blah. And the one thing that struck out to me is you need to have a team, and this is why we're having this episode today, but you need to have a team, and I'm like, okay, you need to have an attorney. I can't afford $300 an hour an attorney. So for many, many years, I have been trying to, about just cheap-minded. I couldn't afford an attorney. And of course, I hired an attorney when I had a problem, and then the money just showed up. But still, I have been praying forever to find an attorney friend. And this year, 2016, has been a banner year for me already, 4 months in. And I have a real estate friend attorney that I meet with once a week, and it's a great opportunity. This gal, she's trying to get in. Well, she already is a real estate investor. She practices general law. She loves real estate, and she's a great real estate attorney. We become friends. We're actually writing a book together. It's coming out in a couple of months, and it's just it's I think it's an integral part of my team. Just the most random questions that I have. Can I do this? Can I do that? And yes or no. And then sometimes you just need to yes or no. Now, remember, there's tons of attorneys out there. Find a real estate attorney. Again, that's difficult too, because I really didn't know. But I do know that I have a really good eviction attorney. Now, I have a friend that's an attorney, and she's a real estate attorney, but I don't have her do evictions because it's kind of paperwork, and there's like a series of 10 steps to get it done. But I have an outstanding eviction attorney that all the judges down there know. So when Goldman Law steps up there, they know that this attorney doesn't fool around, And this is a legitimate situation that we're having here today in court. So I have 2 attorneys per se. All right. So you can't have enough attorneys. I know some of you are like, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, whatever. Attorneys suck. I know they're expensive, but they're human beings too. They need things that you may help them with. It took many years. First of all, it was my low self-esteem. And, after I got over that and so, and built a relationship with an attorney, and this gal that I met, I've known her for a long time. I didn't even know that she was so passionate about real estate until we started hanging out. Number 6, you got to have an appraiser on your team. Now, now with the new laws and banks, you're supposed to have a lottery. There's a bunch of drama with appraisers because of the meltdown, and the government was pointing fingers at people, and appraisers, were one of the people that got their finger pointed at because they increased the sales of the property and they overvalued them. Okay, fine. Everyone is a culprit that received some sort of money or transaction. Everyone is involved. I was one of those subprime people too. I actually got a no-doc loan. I did pay it off, but still, everyone involved, it should take responsibility. But the cool thing about having an appraiser on your team, okay, is they know the pulse of what's going down. For example, I purchased a property one time, and I'm thinking this appraisal is going to come in 55. It's a duplex. It makes $1,000 a month, $25,000 aside, no brainer. I get this duplex under contract for $35,000. A couple weeks of negotiating. Buying another property from another investor takes a little bit longer because they know the value, they know the price, they want a number, and they like to negotiate. Oh, go figure. That's what real estate investors do. They negotiate. But anyway, the appraisal came in at 35. I was like, what? The appraisal came back of what I have it under contract for? Whoa. That's not how the savvy folks do it. We get appraisals higher than what we get under contract. That's called investing. You want a discount, 80%, 70%. That's where I like to roll. 70% discount. I'll buy any property pretty much if it's at 70% of value, especially if it doesn't need much work. And I was frustrated with this appraiser. I called the bank up. I was like, F that. Did the banker of course I didn't talk to the banker like that, but does the appraiser take into account the income that we're generating off of this potential duplex that we're buying? And at this time, it's a long story. I should talk about the story later, but the bank said, hey, you call him yourself. And I was kind of taken back for a minute. What? They're touchable? You can call and have a relationship with the appraiser? I never thought that. I thought that was illegal because, hey, do me a solid, raise it up, right? That was a lot of the things that's going down in the meltdown. But I called this appraiser and I was like, hey, buddy, what's the deal? This is my 5th property this month. I'm in this neighborhood. I know what's going on. And he's like, hey, they just changed the rules on me. There's a lot of foreclosures in that area. And this is when the meltdown was going down. And I was like, did you take an account for the income that's generated off this duplex? And he's like, yes, I did. And, he gave me this speech of that he is responsible for the number that he puts on the appraiser, and he has, a license and all this other jazz. Here's the cool thing, that I'm friends with this guy now through this process. And I still stuck with the deal, and that deal still makes $1,000 a month off of that duplex. But I learned that I need to have an appraiser friend in my world. And you should too. So that's number 6. Get to know the appraiser, especially you're paying money. You want to know them. You want to build a relationship with them. Now, not all appraisers are all the same. There's different types of appraisers that just do drive-by, full-blown appraisals. And what's a full-blown and a half appraisal? And it goes up. And there's a commercial appraisal that could be $2,500. And it's all over the map. But I really haven't seen an appraiser at a real estate club meeting or even at a landlord lunch per se, but you need to find an appraiser, get to know them, build a relationship with them, count them on your team. The interesting thing is I'll get a lot of calls every once in a while from some of their other investors, and they'll ask me, who's the appraiser that you use? Listen, dummy Van Kallenberg, you got to have an appraiser on your team. All right, number 7, real estate agents. Yes, realtors and brokers. Brokers go broke. No. Anyway, you got to have real estate. You got to have a real estate agent in your life. It's the nature of the beast. A lot of property I buy through wholesalers and through mining deals myself, driving through dollars, Facebook, you name it. You can listen to that episode way back in the under 10 episode of how I find deals and where do I get them. But a lot of great deals do come through realtors. They have access to the MLS. And the first thing I think you should do to have a real estate agent / broker on your team is to find out if they're investment friendly. All right. Find out also, I think there's some good real estate agents out there that have maybe one property, but they also manage property for other investors. So that's a good real estate agent to look for. And you want to just not come out and blast them. Do you own any rental property? No, you just want to drop hints. And there's a real estate investor guy that I use that used to own property and he got out, and then he used to manage properties and he doesn't do it. And he's kind of all over the map. But you really need a real estate agent in your team. Okay. I frequently have about 10 real estate agents I use, and I share the wealth. I may buy a property with one real estate agent. They get paid through that process. And then I'll sell a property with another agent. And I just learned that from my mentor, just to share the wealth and keep them each hungry. It just makes sense. There's real estate agents that I madly in love with that are open to creative deals. I was talking to a real estate agent yesterday, and he said that he looked at the MLS. There's only 80 creative, basically any owner, 80 listings on the MLS that mention the word creative financing or owner carry. So, I mean, or, contract for deed. Another good thing about real estate agents, and you'll find a lot of them at real estate investment clubs, they're mining for clients themselves, or they're trying to be in real estate investors that, are trying to buy property, but there'll be a lot of rookies there. And, I love to spend some time with rookies because they pull comps and CMAs for you, and they help you, and they want to learn. And flip-flop, I help them. They ask me, is this a deal? A lot of times in the past, I'll go look at a property, and I'll assess a property for them to help them for their client. And I think it's, success is building a team, but success is also helping each other in the area of expertise that you're in. Okay. You never know that real estate agent might be a superstar later, and you should treat everyone the same, and you should love on as many people as possible. My rule of thumb is I'm loyal to everybody. I don't just buddy up with one realtor and we're homies and chummies in the back. I try to love on all of them equally. They don't like that. They want to be in my pocket. They want to be my friend, and I'm their friend. Right. But I'm not, but I'm going to list with another realtor. Okay. I'm going to buy with a different realtor. And if a realtor continues to bring me great deals, then I'm going to spend a lot more time with that realtor. But I understand that they have to grow their business, and they have to have other real estate investors to deal with, and they can't be exclusive with me. So that's it in the real estate agent / broker nutshell. Number 7. Number 8 is an inspector. This is where I've just added this recently, actually writing this podcast out, that I really never really used an inspector before. I've only used an inspector 3 times, 2 owner occupieds that I owned, and 1 for the commercial property that we're in. And so I've only hired an inspector 3 times in my life. But there is a savvy real estate investor gal out there that I kind of hang out with, and she hires an inspector. I don't know if he's a full-blown licensed inspector, but he pays him a couple $100 to go look at a property for her and do an assessment and email her pictures and photos and checklists. I was like, ingenious. I'm going to add that person to my list. Because if you want to scale your business, right? I can't look, I'm trying to put in 10 offers a week. How can I do that? I can't do inspections on every property. I got to kind of guess, throw an offer in, and then roll over there and then do an inspection. I really don't want to go back. But if I get a house under contract and I'm looking at another house, I can throw down $200 and have someone do a basic inspection for me. So have an inspector on your team. Now, you can't expect an inspector to come out to all your properties for free. But one little trick that I do is call another real estate investor up. Hey, you want to have lunch in Midwest City? Yeah, no problem. Hey, after the end of the lunch, is it cool? Can we swing by this property on the way out? No problem. Many times I've had many lunches where people have taken me out to lunch and, hey, would you mind stopping by this property on the way there, on the way back? On the way there, it's great. Well, I look at it, spend 10, 15, 20 minutes on it, tell them what I think, and then we go have lunch and we talk about it. It's a great way. It's a $30 lunch. Don't be cheap, or spend $200, or get a full blown, but get an inspector or inspection or something on your team. Number 9, we're getting better here. Title companies, you gotta love them, right? They get paid to move your money around. But I'm going to give a shout out to Old Republic Title. I have pretty much closed at every title company in Oklahoma County, Oklahoma City, and they're all pretty the same. But I can tell you, my relationship building with the title company has helped me so much. I can't even explain the results I've had from loving on a title company. There was a time that I had an easement problem, and they knew exactly what to do. There was a time I bought a commercial property, and I wanted to separate it, and she's like, you need to do a party wall. You need a relationship with a title company. And I pursued this gal. I tried to take her to lunch. She's like, no. I was like, here's a Christmas card. No, I could never get this gal on my team. And then one day I called this girl up and said, listen, I know you're not going to go to lunch with me. I know how you roll, but I'm going to bring you lunch, and I'm on my way over there. What do you want? And she's like, ham and cheese sandwich. And I was like, that's it? Do you want mayonnaise or mustard on there? She's like, that's it. Chips? No. And sure enough, I tried to find the best sandwich place I can go, and I brought her an awesome sandwich with cookies and chips and a drink. Okay. And since then, I don't know if that worked, but I just showed a lot of respect for this lady, and I just love on her. And when I close, and it has been a tremendous benefit for me, I can call her up and ask her, hey, is there title issues with this property? I'm about to close on it. I'm about to do an owner finance on it. And, I don't want to, I'm really running out of time. I want to lock this up today, but I don't know about this seller. A few minutes later, she's like, yep, the house is clear title. And, that's not a guarantee. You should do a title search. It's about $75. You can hire an attorney. There's specialized attorneys that do that. But the point is here, number 9, get with a title company, build a relationship with a title company. Savvy investors have relationships with title companies. It doesn't have to be my title company. It can be any title company. Build a relationship with them. Number 10, clean out crew. Boo, boo, boo. If you do wholesaling, if you are a landlord, investor, flipper, top of my list. Well, we'll get to the top here in a minute, but clean out crew. All right. Also known as the hammer, someone to do demolition, someone to clean it out. I was learning from a rehabber the other day, and I failed on a couple houses just recently. I lost some money. And where did I go wrong? And this amazing, I think it was Justin Gentry, if I can remember correctly, he slapped me and said, it all hinges on the demolition. What do you mean? And what happened for me was I was rehabbing a house, and there was a window in a lot of homes in Oklahoma. There's a window in the bathroom. Don't get me dumb, because there's right in the shower is what I'm saying. Not a window, but in the shower. So like constantly water is running down a wooded window, causes mildew in the wall. It's a nightmare. Anytime I rehab a house and I see a window in the shower itself, it comes out. I tile it. And even if it's not brick or frame on the outside, I'll box it in. The long-term effect is well worth it. Well, I hired a construction crew, and they decided to put a brand new window in. I'm like, what the freak? And I should have been more clear with the demolition team. And that's where I failed. And so now I'm like real Johnny on the spot. And so I think number 10, clean out crew is who you need on your team. You need a phone number you can call that can get it cleaned out the next day, that day, within 2 days. Number 11, insurance agent. Boo! I'm telling you, when you get over 10, 15, 30, 50, 100 properties, an insurance agent is almost as close to you as a banker. I would say the same. The reason why, man, I 6 months later, I'm still paying for insurance on properties that we've sold. That, the insurance agent, they just keep collecting the money. But if you have a healthy insurance agent that's minding your business and helping you, values you as a customer, they evaluate your insurance needs. They offer life insurance not to get paid, because if you have a lot of debt, you might need life insurance. They're not trying to sell you everything. They'll even deny stuff for you. Say, hey, you better to go to shelter on this one. Okay. Now I have a whole insurance thing later, but you got to have an insurance agent on your team. Okay. Get one as soon as possible and build a relationship with them. Maybe even go out to lunch with them if they're willing to. But it's time well spent. All right, number 12. We're getting close to the time here. We got 6 minutes. The handyman. You got to have a trusted handyman. Here's the deal. I have several handyman, and when a tenant calls up and says, hey, I got a problem, I have a handyman that I can send out and just assess the situation for me. You know, they'll charge me a minimal trip charge. It's simple. And sometimes they'll fix it right then, and they don't try to overcharge me. You got to have a handyman on your team. Even if you have a property management company that you outsource to and they take a percentage, don't use their handyman. You find a handyman on Craigslist, build a relationship with that handyman, and you will go much further in this endeavor as a real estate investor. Number 13, boom, 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 boom. We're done. Rugby team, a mentor. You got to have a mentor. Hopefully I'm a mentor to you through these podcasts. Hopefully I encourage you. But man, there's nothing like a guy calling you up and saying, hey, what's your goals? 20 units, 20 houses by the, what'd you do today to get that done? That's what a mentor does. They hold your hand. They assist you. I love it. One time, here's a good mentor story. I bought a commercial property. It only had bay doors. And it's a long story, but the only way I can get in, it was a giant garage and it had 2 giant garage doors, and they were running on motors, right? They had no windows. It was it was like a concrete block. And one day I was like, man, what if I don't pay my electricity bill? What if the electricity breaks? What if, goes off? What if the garage door opener doesn't work? How can I get into this building? I was kind of nervous and scared. I called my mentor. I'm thinking, man, I got to do this. I got to put a new window in, blah, blah, blah. He's like, just put a $60 lock on the bay door. That was the best advice I ever got. Seriously. I called the garage door guy. He drilled a couple of holes, put in a lock. So one had an electric door opener. The other side, the other bay door had a manual one that I can unlock. It solved my problem. Obviously, my mentor had dealt with this before. He has purchased and flipped thousands of commercial properties. I've maybe done 2, 3, maybe 5. I can't remember. So that's what a great thing is about a mentor. You can get a mentor that you can pay for that's really on your team, and they should be, or you can just have a casual mentor. You can call them your mentor. Okay. But you got to get a mentor. Number 13. All right. Here's the bonus, and we're done. Bonus. You got to have 3 deep trades in your crew. So here's one, like you got to have 3 heat and air guys. One's on price, one's on time, one jumps. Okay. You got to have 3 electrical people, one that pulls a permit, one that does like just basic stuff like add a new outlet. You got to have 3 deep on your plumbing. All right. Now check this out. How can you apply that to the 13 team members we just chatted about? For my accountant, I have 3 deep on my accountant. What? That's right. This is the bonus section. When I get my paperwork back from my accountant after they've done their job and said, this is what you're going to do on taxes, this is where this is going, this is your depreciation schedule, blah, 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 blah. I take those taxes before I sign them, and I call another random accountant, just for real, and I said, hey, I'm really not comfortable with my accountant. How much would it cost for you for a consultation? Sometimes it's $60. I've paid $100. I've also had accountants do it for free to earn my business. And sure enough, and one time I had an accountant look at my stuff, and he wasn't trying to get my business. He's like, hey, these taxes look good. They're right, but they're classified wrong. And what do you mean? He's like, well, you have all your debt over here and you have all your liability on this company. Does that make sense to you? Because that doesn't look good on here. And sure enough, they didn't. It wasn't correct. But, I've been using that one accountant for several years, and, he's an awesome accountant. I wasn't paying that much in taxes, but that's your bonus. So even with your mentor, the word of God says trust but verify. Well, not trust but verify. Test all things. Okay. So whatever I say, you go test it yourself and you make the determination. You have to take responsibility of your life as a real estate investor, in life in general, as an adult, as a parent. You are responsible signing the dotted line. So take that very seriously and find the team that's going to stand by you through an audit. Stand by a team that's going to refund your money if he hooks up the electrical wire wrong, or if the house burns down, that they're going to testify in court with the insurance company. All right. Hopefully this was valuable information for you. My name is Stephen Van Kalmberg. I'm the Savvy Landlord. I've written a few books. Go to Amazon, type in The Savvy Landlord, or hit me up on my website, savvylandlord.me. email me, text me. I would love to know more about you and help you grow your business. When I connect with other people, it inspires me and I grow myself. But no matter what you do, secure yourself, secure your future, buy assets so you can give more to other people. Again, go out, buy assets. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at savvyradioshow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook and always be buying assets.